if we're talking about marketing as a discipline, as a subject, I see the following 3 bricks in marketing. First, I'm calling segmentation and targeting, and there's a reason why there's a line under the S and the T. Does anybody have a clue why? STP? Very good. Positioning. And what I call, not I, but marketing mix. Those are the 3 blocks that I see when I look at marketing. When I had graduated from business school, that's the way I came out, thinking, okay, there are 3 blocks. Suppose I have to sell something to an audience. I will segment the audience. Okay, this type of people, that type of people. Roughly people who do not like this, people who kind of like that. So there are 4 kinds of people. That's segmentation. Then I target, I choose which type I want to choose based on an internal evaluation and an external evaluation. Say, okay, I want type 3 and type 2. I don't want type 1 and 4, and so on. And then I position myself. I plant a thought in their mind, tell them this is where I am. And how I do it is through marketing. So, segmentation and targeting can be further broken down into segmentation and targeting. Positioning, the way I remember it from 10 years ago, is so what positioning do you want to choose? And what are the risks involved, right? We're looking at marketing mix. So there are 4 for product marketing, and there are 7 for service marketing that I remember. There's an 8th one that's added that I'm kind of a little out of date or something. Alright, so that's the way I imagine the structure in my head. It's very important to be able to think in a structured manner. The next time somebody has a conversation and says something, you know where it fits. So you know about that subject. It's not a random conversation. When you break segmentation down again, yes. Does anybody remember those 4 types of segmentation are? Very good. So demographic, psychographic, geographic, and behavioral. Yeah. So it immediately puts up those 4 things. And I learned like 11 years ago. So it's very good. When you're targeting, there are terms which on that board which tell you whether you want to go for a niche market, you want to go for a mass market. Exactly. Exactly. Full market coverage. So yeah. So it's important to be able to think like that and say this is where it fits in. When you're talking about positioning, it is so what is positioning? Okay, you know the answer. I'm not asking the question. What I'm saying is you have to choose what positioning you want to choose. If you're launching a new product, a new motorcycle for instance, you want to position yourself in the mind of the customer as blank. I am this, right? So that positioning you have to choose. It can be whatever. It can be I am the safest bike, I am the most fuel efficient bike, I am the most pretty bike, I'm the most stylish bike, or whatever. So you have to choose which one of those. You can't have a number of them. Then there are risks associated with positioning, which are okay. So under positioning, over positioning, doubtful positioning, confused positioning. Yes. So the fact that you can remember that on a diagram on 1 page, 1 sheet of paper, you've really understood the subject. Product marketing mix. Everybody knows the answer, so I'm not asking a question. Product promotion in place, 4 P's of product marketing. And similarly, there are 7 P's of service marketing, which I'm sure everybody knows. Except, okay, no, doesn't matter. So it's important to be able to think in a structured manner. It's important to have a structure. If you now look at these, and again, if you break down 4 P's again, under product will be a number of things. There'll be brand, there'll be packaging, there'll be warranty, there'll be this, that, and the other. Under pricing, there'll be a number of things. Under promotion, there'll be a number of things. And a lot of those are on that board. So if we now look at the board, you can pretty much accommodate 70-80% of the things on that board into under one of these heads or the other. Right? So advertising, let's say, starting from there. Advertising is promotion. But it is not just promotion. I remember there were 5 things under promotion. I don't remember those 5 are, I'm sure. One of them was advertising. Sales promotion. Exactly. Yeah. And also person selling. Right? All of that. So it's important to be able to think. So when somebody's talking to you, you know exactly where to fit in your mind what he's saying to you. That's what separates you from from the voice as it were, right? And so on. So I just really want to share this. So while you understand this matrix and say this is marketing on one sheet of paper, it's important to call it that and say, okay, so that's marketing. Similarly, there is finance. There are similar structures for finance majors. People who, so they understand investment evaluation, which is capital budgeting, they understand corporate finance, they understand portfolio management and so on and so forth. So they have their own heads. But it's important for you to also have some idea of that. So that you can integrate the two together when you're making a corporate strategy for the company. Similarly, operations have their own little structures. It's important to know your operation structures as well, otherwise you'll always be at loggerheads with the operations manager. You will say something and he will say, no, this cannot be done because of so and so. And HR. When you look at all of them in totality, holistically, they actually, that is corporate, that's the corporate mix of strategy as it were. Not strategy, sorry, but that's the corporate mix of the diagram. It says that's my corporate structure in sense of knowing the subject, not corporate structure as in anything else. So that's kind of a little important. The second thing I want to talk to you about under the first head is about never abandoning common sense. So let's look at it at an example and try to understand what this example is telling us. Okay? So look at it from two perspectives. What is it telling me and what is it not telling me? So let's look at revenue numbers for 2009 and revenue numbers 2010 for Vodafone and Airtel. So Vodafone did, let's say, 4,000 crores and Airtel did 6,000 crores in 2009, which changed to 5,000 crores in 2010 and 8,000 crores in 2010. What is this piece of information telling you? What is it not telling you? Sorry? Market is growing. Okay, very good. It doesn't tell you it's a market leader. It tells you that it's higher than it's because you never know there's a third player who has a higher revenue, which we haven't considered. What else is this diagram?
The growth of Airtel is more than the growth of Vodafone.
Okay, very good. Let us talk that concept and discuss that a little bit. So the growth in Vodafone is more than the growth in Airtel. Why?
So growth of Vodafone is
So is less. Why is that?
So if we take the percentage,
Sir, if that's 1,000 crores. So we can differentiate on that. Airtel's growth is higher. So the growth rate is double.
Okay. But don't you see 4,000 growing to 5,000?
So 25%.
So
33%.
Okay, I'm just kidding. That's correct. What else is this diagram telling me? What does it not tell you? Expenditure income. Okay. What else is it not telling you? It is not telling you profit.
About the total
Where there
market.
were more offerings from the Airtel side.
But the offering would have been a part of the revenue, right? So, I'm really just talking revenue. So this diagram is okay. What do you mean by more offerings? More products?
More products.
Okay, that's fine.
It's
That's
not telling about the total market.
very good. It's not telling you what the total market is. You have no idea whether there's a third player going at a much faster rate than the others.
So it's not thinking about the future. Will it grow or will it come down?
Right. True. But fundamentally, what is important to note in this diagram is whatever the market is growing, so it doesn't talk about the market, it's critical. If the market is 20,000 crores and is growing to 1 lakh crores, then these guys have done nothing. There's somebody else who's taken the whole market by storm, like, I don't know who. But Tata Docomo, whoever has taken the market by storm. So it is not telling you that particular information. It's always important to analyze the market and what the total market size is when you're looking at any information. This does not give you much. It is important to understand what the total market is. Also, in 2009, the market was 20,000 crores, and in 2010, the market is, let's say, 40,000 crores. It has grown by 20,000 crores. how much of the 20,000 crores incremental growth has been taken by the It is critical. That is what will tell you who is doing well. It doesn't matter who is doing well today and who is not doing well tomorrow. Also, percentages are not important. Percentages are very erroneous. I have grown by 10%, but you have only grown by 2%. Correct? I have grown by 10%. Let's say because I am in India. So the US grows by 2%. The 2% is more than 10%. Because 10% of 100 rupees is less than 2% of 1 crore rupees. So never go by percentages. It's important to have common sense and be able to understand in absolute numbers. Also important is to understand in terms of market numbers. The market is grown by this much. Forget about the percentages. Of the growth of 20,000 crores became 40,000 crores. So the market grew by 20,000. Of this 20,000, who bought how much? That will tell you in 2010 who did well, who did not do well.